and I'm here with Compassion Coaching. So, Compassion Coaching is the company that I'm founding, and it is based off of how we can generate the emotional and physical and mental space to be able to receive loving, kind, connected relationships in our lives. So, I'm living right now on Instagram and on Facebook. So, if you see me looking back and forth, that's what I'm doing. So, I'm looking at two cameras at once. So, what I want to talk about today is something that relates to what we talked about last week. So, last week I introduced the subject of throwing out conventional gender roles and gender norms, and we also talked about the problems that come with centering male pleasure instead of focusing on pleasure involving all partners who are in a relationship. So, today I would like to talk about our sense of feeling like we deserve happiness and deserve love, connection, compassion in our lives. Earlier today, I posted content online that talked about something that I had been struggling with recently, which is where life has been giving me so much light and joy and bliss, and I have almost become, let's say, skeptical of it. Where life has been giving me all these things and these loving connections, and to a certain extent, I almost put my arm out and say, okay, hold on, like, calm down, because I noticed that there's a tendency that we have to undermine our own sense of deservingness of happiness. So, where does this come from? This could come from ways that we've been brought up, ways that we've been raised. It could come from the media that we've consumed. It could come from films, songs, books that we've read, things that guardians or caretakers have told us. And that all has to do with the construct that we put ourselves in. So, when I say your sense of deservingness, specifically, I'm relating to what you deserve out of a relationship. So, whenever we date or we are in the process of dating and getting to know people, we are putting out messages that attract to us the type of people that we are subconsciously emitting and putting messages out to attract. So, if we have a subconscious pattern that tells us that we deserve a certain bar or a certain level of connection, of relationship, of kindness, then we will put out or emit what attracts that back to us. Now, this is tricky because it's subconscious, so we might tell ourselves all we want. I deserve this, I deserve that, I'm going to set high standards for myself, I feel like it's really time for me to take it to the next level and take my relationship and my dating to the next level. But as long as we have those underlying messages that are like, yeah, right, no, you don't, or that keep telling us, yeah, but that's not actually true, we can tell ourselves that all we want, but as long as that's still buried underneath there, we're not going to be able to attract the quality of relationships that we really do crave and want. And one of the things that I have noticed as one of my resistance points is that I am being surrounded by a wealth of just beauty, and there's still that underlying message sometimes that says, this is too good to be true, it's just not going to last. Or that says, yeah, but it's just like a lucky thing, it's just a chance, it happened by chance, rather than me acknowledging that and owning that and saying, well, I do deserve to be happy, and this is the way that I construct my happiness. So I wanted to call that out and to see if there are ways that we can begin to recognize that there's a sense of unintentional self-sabotaging that sometimes happens. So how does that look? What does that look like? What can happen is a lot of the times if we are in a position and let's say, I don't like to talk gender roles normally, but let's say if me as a woman, I am in a position where I keep on telling myself, this is the type of partner I want to attract. This is the type of person that I want to have in my life. And let's say that something manifests where there would be a situation where we could say, oh, this is just too good to be true. Because we hear a lot of the times people saying there are no good men out there, or there are no good women out there, all the good ones are married or taken, you just can't trust anyone anymore, et cetera, et cetera. So we tell ourselves all of these stories, and we repeat them to our friends and in our inner circles as well, and we keep on confirming these stories, especially with online dating. All people want is to just hook up. People are just looking for something casual. I can't find this, I can't find that, et cetera, et cetera. So it's that sense of self-sabotage that we keep on playing into. And so if I am telling myself all of these things, and if I then go out there, and if I were to then go on a date, it would play out very, very close to what I keep telling myself. So the person might not be as respectful, or the person might not be someone who's looking for something serious, or things like that, because I keep on telling myself that, and in my friend group we talk about that, and online people post about that. So it's just that sense of understanding from the root, wait, I do deserve to be happy, and then when something does attract into my life and does manifest into my life, being able to embrace that and say, okay, well, this is something that I was able to accept and open up to. So just understanding how we can accept happiness into our own lives, because a lot of the times when we set a bar at a certain level, we tend to stay there, and we tend to say, well, this is good enough. You know, the person treats me with enough respect. The person helps out enough. The person is kind enough. You know, not things aren't perfect, but it's good enough. So I want to challenge you to not get stuck in good enough, and to continue to push the bar up, and to continue to raise the standards, and to honestly work through those subconscious messages of what we are attracting to ourselves, so that way you can push your bar up, and that way you can continue to grow and accelerate in your relationships. But it all starts with yourself. What do you feel like you're deserving of? What fears do you have that are holding you back? For me, some of those fears would be involving not being able to trust people, not being able to open up, not being able to trust that things will work out and that I will be taken care of, whether it's in a relationship or in a friendship. And being able to be vulnerable with yourself and understand that is a great way to start. It's a great place to start. So that's just a sense of deserving that we need to work on, and that's something that is going to be continued to work on, because when life gives us different messages and different people in our lives, it just happens for a reason, and we need to be able to acknowledge that and understand that and honor that, so that way we can move forward and progress in our relationships and in our connections with other people. So that's a little bit of that. And in terms of what all of that looks like, so in terms of making that into reality, when it comes to connecting with people, last week we talked about boundary setting and how we can set boundaries and understand, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for long-term commitment. I'm looking for just casual relationships. I'm looking for monogamy. I'm looking for polygamy. So whatever you end up feeling like you are looking for, starting with those boundaries also helps you to understand what you want to get out of a relationship or a partnership, and what you deserve from that. So there are no rights or no wrongs. Everything is good. Everything is accepted. And it's perfectly fine to oscillate between the two, and to change your priorities and change your goals as you progress through dating and as you progress through life and through relationships. But just really being aware of when things aren't feeling like they're aligned with you, being aware of knowing when it's time to take a step back and to reevaluate and to understand, is this still aligning with my goals or not? Is this something that I need to reevaluate? And looking at that from an outsider's perspective. Because a lot of the time we get caught in our own emotions, which is natural and normal, because there's a lot of fear that can come up in dating. There's a lot of vulnerability with being able to get to know someone at such a deep and intimate level. And with that vulnerability comes a huge responsibility to be able to communicate effectively and to be able to communicate boundaries and needs with our partners. So part of that sense of deservingness of what I deserve, of what you deserve, of what the people that you interact with deserve, also comes through that communication as well. So just letting that flow and working on that, and then working on what we feel internally in terms of what we do deserve. Because once that door is open, the floodgates just pour everything out, and there are just so many levels of connection, and you could even say romance or emotional intimacy with people that you might have not even thought was ever possible. So just understanding that life is full of possibilities, and that it's full of connections, and that we're social humans and we need to connect with each other. Working through the fears of, I don't deserve this is too good to be true, something's bound to go wrong eventually, and then working through not self-sabotaging our own relationships. So a lot of the times you might see someone who, let's say, cheats or is unfaithful or does something that they know will harm the relationship, because there's often a fear of, this is just too good, or of, this person's too good for me, or of, I don't really deserve this. So be aware of that and call that when it happens, and see when you are unintentionally self-sabotaging yourself, whether that's in a relationship or if that's in something else, knowing those signs. Am I self-sabotaging? Am I feeling undeserving of this? Am I feeling imposter syndrome? Do I feel like the person's going to find out that I'm not who they really think I am, and eventually they're going to leave, or they're going to decide they don't want to stay? So those are all really interesting things to look at. And that's it for this week. But later we will be talking more about ways that we can start recognizing that inside ourselves. And there's just so much more good content to put out, and I'm just so lit up and I'm so excited to be here and to be talking about all of this. And come at me with any questions that you have. Please let me know if there's anything that you want me to share more specifically about, whether it's in terms of online dating or whether it's in terms of priming yourself so that you're ready for a relationship, or whether it's even in terms of being currently in a relationship and maybe noticing that there are some patterns that are not working, and how to work through those, how to heal from those, how to work through those fears of the past that keep on circulating in our minds as the voices of, I don't deserve this, I had a bad pattern that happened in the past, I've been hurt before, I've been let down before, so who's to say that it's not going to happen again? Because there are no guarantees. Who's to say that I won't find myself in another situation where I get hurt very badly again? So all of these things that just keep circulating in our mind, cleaning them out with the old, in with the new. So cleaning all that out and making room for new possibilities, new connections, everything new, because as long as we have those old patterns that keep circulating inside our minds of, I've been hurt before, this is a red flag, whether it is, definitely that needs to be looked at, but because there's a distinction between noticing the red flags versus over analyzing the small things. So understanding that and recognizing that and really making room to clean out everything that we have, so that way we can embrace new relationships and embrace things that are going to bring us light and happiness and joy, and be able to navigate our life in a way that serves us. So more on that soon, and thank you all very much for taking time to watch, and I can't wait to talk more and share more, and let me know if there's anything that you'd like to know more about. So have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and happy Sunday. Thank you for watching.